Nick, 8 guys drafted this year, 2 in the first round. Can you just assess your thoughts on that?
Well, we're always pleased, when our guys get an opportunity to play in the NFL. I think that's, 5 years where we've had 2 guys in the first round, multiple picks in the first round, which we're very proud of. And, very proud of what all those guys have done for the University of Alabama and how they've represented. And glad to see the other guys get an opportunity. And I think we had 6 or so guys sign as free agents, which is a great opportunity for them as well.
Coach, did it surprise you where AJ was drafted?
Well, AJ did a great job for us. I think that sometimes, people don't evaluate things like I would evaluate things. I think AJ was probably the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in this draft. I don't study them all. And he did a fantastic job for us. And I certainly think he's going to be a great pro player and have a very good career. I think that Eddie Lacy was probably a pretty good example last year when he didn't get drafted in the first round to be a late second-round pick and then make Rookie of the Year. That kind of proves the point that it's not really where you get drafted, it's what you do with the opportunity after you get there. And I think AJ has a very good opportunity in Cincinnati, and we want him to focus on that and do a really good job with the opportunity that he has.
But some of the comments he made about playing hurt and sacrificing a lot for the school, what were your reactions to that?
Well, he never said any of those things to me. All I didn't know is he did a great job for us, and he was a good leader on our team and a good person. I think sometimes people get characterized in the wrong way. I certainly think this was the case, in some ways here. But we all have to be responsible for our own self-determination too, and evaluate what we did that might have created that. And we just want to support AJ and his family in every way that we can, and wish him the very best in the career opportunity that he has.
Did those reports surprise you that came out that said perhaps he came across as arrogant to NFL teams?
Well, it does surprise me because he was never that way to me. And I think that if you ask a lot of his teammates, they would probably say the same. I think that AJ is a very good person, and regardless of what he ever said to you and whatever way he sort of left you with an impression, if he could do something to help you, he would be the first one to be there to do it. So he is a good person, and I think in the long run, it will certainly, that he'll have a chance, and he has an opportunity to prove that he can be a good leader and a good quarterback in the National Football League.
Coach, what is your expectation for this upcoming season?
Well, I don't really, we're trying to take it day by day and build a team. I think you sort of win games in the offseason by developing the psychological endurance to sustain the season. And I think a team's character and attitude of how they go about that, the work ethic that you have, certainly goes a long way in determining, how your team is doing that. And I've been very pleased and happy with the way our team has gone through off-season program, spring practice, and the way they've gone about it to this point. So, hopefully we'll continue that through the summer and be able to. My goal as a coach is to get our players to play the best football they can on a consistent basis, and that's what our goal will be with this team.
Coach, you've got Jacob Coker coming in that's going to be competing for the starting job. What are you expecting out of him this summer to get more acclimated with his teammates?
Well, I think that, Jacob, an older guy, certainly has a little more maturity than, some of the other guys that we have in terms of his knowledge and experience. And, it's going to be a challenge for him to not only learn the offense, the terminology, and become someone who embraces his teammates and in a positive way, tries to affect them. It's going to be a challenge for him. It's going to be a challenge for us, but he's got the right kind of personality and is the right kind of person to do it. So we're excited about having the opportunity to work with him.
I just want to ask about one of the other quarterbacks, Alex Morris. Did you know he was such a good punter? When did you discover he was able to do that?
Well, we didn't really have a punter in the spring, so we recruited a guy that usually goes that way with specialists now. These camps, you have to kind of give them scholarships to get one. So when your guys graduate, and that's when you can get one of the better ones, and we feel like we were able to do that this year in recruiting. But We didn't have a punter, and we asked, all the guys on the team, anybody punted before, and Alex said he punted in high school, so we said, hey, we'd like to try you out and work with you and see how it goes, and had a really strong leg, and I think he could develop into being a pretty competitive punter for us if he continues to improve.
Coach, you're the lone wolf when it comes to 9 conference games. What's it going to take to get some of your other coaches to get on board with you?
Well, I think we have to change the whole system. I understand everybody's point of view on this. People want to be bowl eligible. They look at it like if we have another conference game, that's 7 more losses, for everyone, which would minimize the number of teams that could get in bowl games. Well, I think on the other end of it, the committee that's going to pick the top 4 teams for the playoff are really picking the top 12 teams for all 6 sort of championship bowl games, whatever they call them now. Well, why don't we do it like basketball and let them pick all the teams for all the bowl games? Then it doesn't matter what your record is. I mean, who's to say that having 6 wins and having a 6-6 season is what qualifies you to go to a bowl game? If you play in a tough league and you play a tough schedule and you win a couple good games, RPI, whatever you want to call it, and even though you may lose to some very good teams, you should still have an opportunity to go to a bowl game because your team may be better than another team who played a lesser schedule. If we do that, then more people would not be so concerned about the type of schedule that they played and the number of wins that they got, which my whole thing is improve the number of good games for the fans. So I was for having 9 conference games plus another game in the Big 5 or whatever they're calling it now, the Big 5 conferences, which we're going to play 8 games in the SEC and everybody's going to play one of those games starting in 2016 as well, which we've always done. So I think the quality of schedule. Being in the NFL, you had 32 teams. You played all 32 of those teams, and you rotated the schedule. All right, so there was more of a competitive balance. The Giants lost 6 games and won the Super Bowl. So rather than if you lose a game in college football, now you're out. Well, if you played a more difficult schedule and you really looked at strength of schedule, you could lose a game or maybe 2 and still have a chance to get in the playoffs, and you'd have more quality games for the fans.
Nick, what are your thoughts on the new rule about players being able to be compensated for working camps?
I think as long as they're compensated like other people who work in the camps, which are the coaches, I think it's fine. If we start to manipulate what we pay coaches so we can pay players more, then I don't think as coaches we're doing it the right way from an honesty and integrity and spirit of the rule standpoint. So I think if it's done the right way, I think it's good for the players, but it's not something that should be taken advantage of.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.